If it shows you too much of the buildings, the map becomes too confusing. And when you take up too much of memories, the map becomes very jagged. The page will start to move jagged.
So if I'm using a GPS system for city driving, what sort of things should I be looking out for?
The first most important thing is you must get a GPS that has got very good receiving power, sensitivity of the antenna, and of course you must have something, a map that is reliable, accurate, and bring you to exactly where you want to go to.
Depending on its features, a GPS device can cost you from $100 to several thousand US dollars.
What about adventurous trekkers, hikers? Is there a portable system for them to carry around?
Yes. We have something here which is a very popular item among all the trekkers here. You can put in topographic maps.
Okay.
You can save all your tracks. This can save up to 1,000 waypoints, meaning that from where you start, you track all the places that is important. You can just mark, remember them, so that next time you can go back to the same place. Or if you're lost in the jungle, you know how to go back.
So instead of dropping stones along my hike, I can just mark it with this one.
You're right.
The best thing about GPS is the service is free.
All the satellite signals, even if you don't use them, they're beaming at you 24 hours a day. You only need to pay for the machine. The next time you just feed them with either information like maps, what kind of maps you put in, and the batteries, that's all. Nothing else.
Well, now I'm ready to give GPS a try.
I feel confident with my tools of analysis, but not good enough.
We see that our neighbor cannot buy food. We cannot just sit calm.
Bisnis saya itu dijarah, jadi saya mulai dari awal lagi.
9 years on, Indonesia still struggling to get its economy back on track. Hear their stories of hope. Asia rebounds post-1997, Thursday, 9:30 p.m.
Talk to me.
They say having a good roadmap is like having a good plan. It brings you to your destination and shows you the best way to get there. Well, it's a good thing then that we can depend on technology for help.
Global positioning system is becoming increasingly common in vehicles on the road. Basic systems offer voice commands to give drivers directions to their destinations. But more sophisticated devices can show a vehicle's position in a map and allow drivers to look up street addresses, restaurants, petrol stations, and a whole lot more. Chong Chun-Hui has been using GPS on the road for about 5 years. What he likes about the devices is its ability to mark down difficult-to-find spots and share those information with his friends.
I have a group of friends. We also like to travel a lot. So not only in Singapore, we also travel to Malaysia. We mark down some favorite places or locations. So when we actually get together, we exchange this kind of data. I also use it for fishing. Okay, that is the best experience I have because there's no roads or indication in the sea. Okay, it actually helped me to lock down to the location so that I will know which is a favorite fishing spot, that I know where I can get the big fish.
A GPS device is certainly helpful on the road, and I'm surprised by how easy it is to use.
Turn right, then turn left.
Its clear voice command is most helpful. It doesn't distract me from my drive. And now, I know just where to turn ahead of time and not miss any exits.
150 meters to destination.
Well, GPS is good, but you have to remember to keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the steering wheel when you're driving. Otherwise, you can take public transport. Many of them are equipped with real-time navigation systems that will get you to your destinations on time.
We're used to taking taxis, and this device, propped up on a dashboard inside a cab, is a familiar sight to many. It's a GPS receiver that taxi firms use to track and trace cabs on the road. By knowing exactly where the cabs are, it can dispatch the order in the shortest possible time when someone books for transport.
The most widely used GPS technology is to plant a box into the vehicle. So when the vehicle is moving around like a taxi, it knows the position by collecting this information from the sky. And through the GSM network, it sends back the position information to the headquarters, and the monitoring people will know where the vehicle is.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Where you want to go?
Yes, I would like to go to Lim Chu Kang Lane 5, but I'm not sure how to get there. It's near a farm.
Oh, not a problem. We can search from the map here.
Okay.
Yes, all the driver needs to do is to key in his destination. The device plots the route and calculates the time it takes to get there.
When you go to a foreign country, you rent a car, you drive around. They are also monitor services to help protect you. So, and they even have a emergency call kind of voice services to connect to the box. So when you are lost, when you come across any dangerous situation, you can actually talk them to the service center and to tell them what happened and then to get help.
Because it operates real-time, help is never too far away when emergencies happen.
For example, your house being intruded and the vehicle had an accident and going to somewhere, we must know where they are. It will allow people to get notice, to be informed of what is happening and where it is. GPS is most useful when it's combined with communication technology.
The GPS tracking system can also be used to monitor unsafe driving habits. Vehicles can be observed real-time to ensure they take the designated routes and arrive at their destination safely. All can be seen on this vehicle location map that's updated every second. The group of satellites used by the Global Positioning System may have military origins, but today it's free for everyone to use as a travel aid to navigate through the city streets and more. And that's what I call cool technology.
When we return, we'll have a look at tech solutions that can help parents track their children. We'll be right back. Intelligent tracking devices are not only there to help those who often lose their way. If you're a parent, this system can help you keep track and be informed of the whereabouts of your children.
44-year-old Dayal Krishnan is a project director working for Aegis, a geographic information systems company. When his firm launched NavCare service a few months ago, Dayal is one of the first to try out the application on his family. With it, Dayal can now keep track of their whereabouts 24 hours a day.
I can check it on the internet. Like when I'm in the office, I can check it. I can check it on the phone, and it also comes as an email. My mom is diabetic, so when she goes out, I feel safe that I know where she is. Kids also, when I'm out there after work, if I want to pick them up, if they're in school, I don't disturb them. I just have to see if they're in school, and I know I can pick them up.
To put it simply, NavCare is an application that converts the mobile phone into a tracking device. But instead of using GPS, which only works outdoors, NavCare taps on the mobile GSM network. Hence, its accuracy depends on the signal strength on the area the phone is in.
The information is real-time. In terms of accuracy, you have an idea of whereabouts, probably between 50 to 100, 150 meters. right? There are many conditions, many factors that affect the accuracy, right? Signals, cells, even GPS itself has got the issue of reflection, and depending on the density of the area, for example, like Shenton Way has got so many tall buildings, the accuracy may differ.
While GPS is touted to work anywhere in the world, it only gives accurate assessment when the satellite signals are not obstructed. This means it may not work as well in cities like Hong Kong, densely populated by skyscrapers.
We find that the most common thing that everybody carries actually is the mobile phone, you know. And with the mobile phone, the general technology that people use for tracking another person is using GPS. So GPS is using satellites, but when it comes to a human being, you hardly find human being, at least in Singapore context, to be walking out in the streets, holding a GPS device and saying that, you know, satellite, please see me. GPS only works when you can actually see the sky.
To counter the drawbacks of GPS, Aegis developed its own GPRX location technology that makes use of the mobile network using smartphones as a location and tracking device. As these applications are not dependent on network carriers or phone companies, they can work cross borders.
We are in the process of rolling out actually 7 countries. We already have Malaysia, so we also have Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi. We have Sri Lanka, basically Colombo. We are now developing in all the major Australian cities. We are also doing Jakarta. So very much we cover ASEAN. And once we have done this and we have calibrated the networks and done the mapping, then tracking becomes actually cross-border. So, you know, imagine, let's say, your parent went up to Genting, for instance, and here you're worried about them. You can actually know that they're up in Genting, so at least you know they're safe. And when they come back, you actually would know where along the highway they are.
Locating people, places, and facilities. Technology doesn't only give us mobility, it also provides us with directions so we can move quickly from place to place.
Say you want to go meet a friend or a dinner or a movie, in Smart Search you do not have to type the whole word, so it give you a list of selection which you can pick from, and you can actually just click on where you want to go and it appears on the map. From here you can actually do a send position. Say you are at this location and you want to meet your friend here, so you go to the map options, you go to the Queries option and you SMS position.
And if you're lost, you can also check on your present position by tapping on this device.
I can do a where am I by simply turning on the where am I function. And after a while, it will just show a location of where you are with reference to a map. You can zoom in or zoom out. And you can also, from this area, do a search, keyword search of what's nearby, for example, ATM machine.
So the idea is having the handphone with a software, with our technology, and being very mobile and going to different countries and being able to use it as if you're at home and finding the things that are relevant, food, public transport, hospitals, and all that.
And therein lies the issue of privacy. Today's technology is powerful enough to track people simply by tapping on existing signals used by mobile phones. Fortunately, many applications available to consumers are still very much permission-based. Like the buddy list, users can opt to turn their mobile phones invisible if they don't want to be tracked by their friends. Applications like NavCare, however, do not have this option. While some teenagers may balk at the idea of being under their parents' radar all the time, this 13-year-old doesn't seem to mind.
Actually, I was quite okay because I think it is a good way for my father to know where I am. So like when I have projects or anything, I can just call him and send him the location of where I am. he will know and he will be able to pick me up.
If we talk about privacy, we are pretty open in the family. I've always told them that it's not that I don't trust them. I actually want them to be safe, right? It's not they who we don't trust, but sometimes it is the external factors that's worrying sometimes.
Controversies aside, for surveillance or security, when technologies help keep a loved one safe, it is likely here to stay. Technologies can help you with direction, but you are the only one who can decide on your destination. I hope you've enjoyed our journey here together on That's IT. It's our last episode for the season, but I'll see you again soon. I'm Timothy Go. That's it.
Talk to me. Talk to me. If you feel the need or when you need to feel it, talk to me. If you feel the need or when you need to feel it, talk to me.
World Bank meetings in Singapore won't be just all seminars and conferences. There will also be cocktail receptions, parties and perks galore for both delegates and the media. Channel News Asia's Timothy Go checks out what's in store.
I've attended my fair share of big international events, but I can't remember one that is jam-packed with perks and special deals for participants. So if you're a delegate, a civil society organization representative, or a member of the media like me, then you are in for special treats in Singapore. When making your rounds in the nearby shopping malls, make sure to look for this sign. Flash your official IMF badge and you open the window to discounts and special shopping deals. Your IMF badge also gets you discounts at participating bars and restaurants in the area. If shopping is not your thing, then find yourself any quiet corner in the area, switch on your notebook, and you are connected to cyberspace. Chat, work, surf, do whatever you want. It's all on the house. After all the meetings, seminars, and a hard day's work, delegates can come here,
where you can find the best seats in the house. The Delegates Lounge is armed with 20 awesome I Desire massage chairs, and I'm gonna give it a try.
The perks get my thumbs up. The question is, will the delegates find time to enjoy all this? And just before you think only conference delegates are getting spoiled, look around because all over the mall are these. Drop your shopping bag, sit down, and enjoy the gentle foot massage by iSqueeze.
We planned privileges for the delegates, but for the locals, as long as they come to Suntec City, they shop, they've got instant wins where they can do an instant dip.
Suntec City Mall is giving locals and tourists alike a chance to win free trips overseas daily. Timothy Go, Channel News Asia, Singapore.
And for more news updates, you log on to channelnewsasia.com.
More, we now turn over to Timothy Go, who joins us live from Suntec, Singapore. Timothy, we hear that the heads have come out to discuss policy and directions. What else do you know about that?
Well, Andrea, the IMF is now discussing ways to reshape its role in a rapidly changing global economy. The IMF Managing Director, Rodrigo de Rato, says there is no quick fix or magic bullet for global imbalances, and he told the news conference earlier today that policymakers need to be ready to adapt to a more challenging economic outlook. He was referring to large deficits in the United States and massive surpluses in emerging Asia and oil-producing nations. The IMF also wants to boost its role in surveillance of the world economy. It has already started using a new tool to complement its single-country studies.
One change we have made is the introduction of a new tool, multilateral consultations, in which particular issues of global or regional significance will be taken up comprehensively and collectively with some members, and where relevant with entities formed by a group of members. As many of you know, our first multilateral consultations is focusing on global payment imbalances and how to address them while maintaining robust global growth. I would like to emphasize one important point. Global imbalances are certainly a very complex problem that took many years to build up, and it would be unrealistic to expect the problem to be resolved through a magic bullet, a quick fix.
The IMF chief also thinks protectionism will be a spanner in the works. Mr. Derato spoke with Channel News Asia's Melvin Yong and explains why this is the case.
Well, it's not a question of being bullish, it's a question of recognizing the data. I mean, we see that the world economy will grow this year around 5%, and the growth is more broad-based. You have good examples, for instance, in Japan, in Asia, but also in the European Union. We see a very strong performances in India and in China, and in Southeast Asia, the growth prospects are good. That doesn't mean that you don't have different problems in different countries. You have very successful stories in Asia, like Vietnam, which is welcome, but also a good evolution of the Indonesian economy, the Philippine economy. So I think things are moving in the right direction, and it's not happening by chance. And that's the important thing. I think we're not in a miracle that we don't know what happened. We know what reforms have been done in Indonesia in monetary policy, in Philippines in their VIT introduction, in reforms in India, etc. So things have been, a lot of things we see today are the result of policies implemented 4 or 5, 3 years ago. Well, the challenge now is what will be the new policies that will keep us going.
That is, of course, our Melvin Yong speaking with the IMF chief, Rodrigo Derato, here at our Suntec studios. You can catch the interview on Primetime News. That is at 9 p.m. in Singapore, Hong Kong, including the reason why he thinks Singapore is a success story. Meanwhile, the World Bank president, Paul Wolfowitz, was stressing that combating poverty, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, will be a priority during this week's meeting. He cited Asia as a positive example. He says some 400 million people have escaped poverty, and the need to fight poverty is even more urgent in Africa, where some 600 million are affected. But the World Bank president also reiterated that combating poverty will require poor nations to have good governance and wipe out corruption, which is one of the biggest obstacles. Now, he also believes by engaging civil societies in affected countries, it can help monitor allocated funds will go where it's needed most and not into the pockets of corrupt officials.
We simply can't afford to turn a blind eye when we do encounter corruption in our projects. It not only means that money that should be going to build clinics and build schools and provide adequate housing for the poor instead is going to enrich corrupt individuals, and it's siphoned off from where it ought to go. In fact, sometimes it's not just a waste of money. It is sometimes leads to buildings that collapse or to medicines that are harmful being given to pregnant women. These are not hypothetical examples, these are real ones.
Well, we are about 4 seconds from 12:05 p.m. in Singapore. Sirens will be heard throughout the country for 1 minute, just at that time, 12:05 p.m. today. It is part of an annual exercise by the Singapore Civil Defense Force to test the people's awareness about its public warning system. Channel News Asia went behind the scenes right inside the nerve of the PWS.
This is where it all happens, and it's the first time any reporter has ever been allowed access to this highly secured activation center. Located at the SCDF headquarters, it's manned round the clock with tests running every single day to ensure the system runs smoothly. There are more than 280 sirens island-wide, covering 97% of residential areas. The sound you just heard was a signal to tune in to MediaCorp radio or television for an important message from the SCDF. Blasting the warning tones at 118 decibels, all sirens can be triggered to go off simultaneously. Selected clusters of sirens can be activated as well. And as a safety backup measure, the SCDF also has sirens which are mobile.
You can see in front of you here is a mobile siren. We have a number of these mobile siren units that are meant to serve as a filler, as a replacement, in case some of those 280 that have to be taken down or were found to be faulty.
The SCDF is also exploring other means, such as SMS services, to further enhance the public warning system.
Well, discussions are underway between civil society organizations and World Bank officials. Activists met the World Bank's chief economist for the East Asian region at a civil society forum breakfast meeting this morning. Channel News Asia's Rita Zahara sat in at the meeting, and she joins me now at our Suntech studios. Rita, can you tell us what was talked about in that meeting?
Well, there was an exchange of ideas, and one of the most striking things that emerged was how agencies like the World Bank can actually work with government agencies to implement ideas and institutionalize policies. And also there was this discussion about how agencies like the World Bank, again, should work in partnership with civil society organizations so that they can have and implement more effectively on the ground. Because they understand and they acknowledge that civil society organizations or CSOs are the eyes and ears on the ground. They know what works in a particular area, and they also know they're the main source of information in that sense. So in that sense, they also give an example in where they can work in partnership with the CSOs. And one good example that came about was how CSOs work very closely on the ground with people in Indonesia, Yogyakarta, and Aceh, the disaster hit areas. And these people are not just about disaster response. It's not just about building houses, but it's also about understanding the culture of the people, about effective reconstruction and humanitarian response.
All right, now some CSOs said they prefer dialogue over protest. What have they told you?
Well, there are two ways to actually get your voices heard. So when I speak to the NGOs or the CSOs, they did mention to me some of them actually prefer to attend the forums or the dialogues because they can get closer to the decision makers to get a feel of what are their challenges, their views, and their difficulties, so that they can actually have a more meaningful conversation to bridge the gap and to actually see that well-intentioned programs can be implemented in a more effective way.
Thank you very much, Rita. Rita Zahara there reporting to us here live in our Suntech studios. Now, while some CSOs prefer dialogue over in Indonesia's Batam Island, some other CSOs are gathering to protest the IMF World Bank meetings here in Singapore. A slew of discussions and forums have already started there as well. Channel News Asia's Hasnita Emaja joins us now from Batam. Hasnita, we understand the turnout has gone up by quite a lot since last night. How's the security situation there?
Well, Tim, since yesterday evening, many more activists have arrived here at the Asrama Haji Center, and there are at least 600 participants from the civil society organizations and NGOs at this morning's opening session.